Expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. I heard this saying somewhere over the last couple of weeks on the internet somewhere. I can't remember who said it. I apologise for that. Expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. I think we need to be very careful about over-optimistic, positive expectations, especially about things over which we have limited or no control, but things over which we do have some degree of control too. Thinking first about things we can't control, let's remind ourselves of the first part of the alcoholic's prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. It makes me very uncomfortable when people make promises like, it will be okay, or I won't let anything happen to you. These are a kind of knee-jerk response, I guess, which are designed to bring comfort to someone, probably, but which generate unrealistic expectations and frequently lead to broken promises. And we also need to be very wary of any tendency within ourselves to believe that we can affect the outcome of a situation just by willing it to happen. Clenching our teeth, crossing our fingers, repeating mantras to ourselves like spells or prayers. Land on black six, land on black six. As if somehow we can affect the world out there just by our thoughts. We can't. This is magical thinking. The power of positive thinking, a la Norman Vincent Peale, is probably misunderstood and misused. But Peale did say things like this: most obstacles are mental in character. Some obstacles are mental in character. Claims such as all or most obstacles are mental are hyperbole at best. Sure, negative thoughts can be overwhelming at times. You're looking at an expert in those. But unrelenting positive thoughts are potentially just as damaging. Expectations are just disappointments waiting to happen. As someone who rarely thinks things will turn out well, I can tell you with some authority that things turning out well when you didn't expect them to generates much more pleasant feelings than things turning out badly when you expected them to end well. Or even when they turn out well, for that matter, when you expected them to end well. When you expect things to end well with great confidence, when they do, it's no big deal. I attend 2 trivia nights per week at 2 different venues, but using the same format. There's some overlap between the teams, but they're not identical. Winning scores on Monday night are routinely higher than those on Wednesday night. Let's be honest, the competition on Monday night is much tougher. Our team frequently wins on Wednesday night, but rarely on Monday night. I admit that I generally expect us to win on Wednesday night. I don't expect us to win on Monday night. Then, just occasionally, we do. And it's a much better experience than winning on Wednesday night. Indeed, coming second or third on Monday night feels as good or better than winning on Wednesday night. And losing on Wednesday night is a much bigger letdown than losing on Monday night. Having lower expectations greatly enhances the joy of winning. Of course, this is just a game. Nothing very consequential is at stake, except perhaps our self-esteem. And this is in fact a situation over which we actually do have some control. But don't enter a 100-metre sprint against Usain Bolt and expect to win. Trust me on this. It's important to have realistic expectations, even when these include the possibility or even the likelihood of failing. No amount of positive thinking will help you to beat Usain Bolt, not even when he's 80 years old, probably. There are, however, 2 ways in which I think positive thinking can help. First, recognise that you did the best you could, if you actually did. Don't beat yourself up if there was actually no way that you could have done better. I say if here, because sometimes we don't do the best that we could. If we always automatically think that we did the best we could, we'll never improve. We'll never learn from our mistakes. After a failure, let's not shy away from the word. That in itself is a kind of superstitious behaviour. After a failure, it's impossible not to undertake some kind of post-mortem. But indeed, it's necessary that we do, even if we succeed, actually. What might I do better next time? But even if we do identify that there were some things we could have done better, nothing is gained by beating ourselves up over the fact that we didn't do that last time. And that's something I do all the time, and which I would like not to do. So, when we lose at trivia, I inevitably look back and wonder if there was something we might have done better. Sometimes I don't think there is, and I can say with confidence that we did well, even though we didn't win. There may also be some longer term goals that I might identify, such as learn more about video games, which, incidentally, is something I will never do, so it's no good beating myself up over that either. And there's no point thinking or expecting that I will. I just won't. I'll pick another area where I think there's a realistic chance of improving, something I'm actually interested in. The second area in which positive thinking can help is in getting up, dusting ourselves off, and trying again. This doesn't mean thinking that I'll beat Usain Bolt next time. It may mean, though, that I'll perform better next time. And maybe competing against Usain Bolt brings something out in me that just running on my own will never bring out. So I'm actually competing against myself. Even here, though, there does come a point when the realistic option is to say, no more. I've gone as far as I can down that path. I've achieved all I can. I've hit my ceiling. And that's okay, which is something we need to realise in our society, and something that will relieve a lot of unnecessary anxiety and disappointment in self. Get up and have another go. Don't let failure prevent you from trying again, up to a point. Then, when you reach that point, stop. And acknowledge how much you've achieved rather than what you haven't. And move on to the next challenge. Being positive doesn't mean endlessly bashing your head against the ceiling. Sometimes you have to move sideways first. Okay, so that's my 2 pennies worth, and that may well be all it's worth. And I don't pretend to come even close to living up to it. So I've taken a side step away from trying to live up to it, to telling you about it.